So next up, we're going to look at bar charts. So bar charts show the data in a little bit different way. They're really good at showing differences between data. So each bar represents a specific piece of data. And then you need to have a legend that tells you what part of the graph, which part of the graph represents what. Or sometimes for less complicated data, they can just, each bar will be labeled down below. So in this first case here, we have the average age of students at some probably college. And so average ages are y-axes, or vertical axes there. And horizontally, we have the average age at different years. So our first question is, what was the average age of female students in year 2002 to 2003? So if you look at your horizontal axes, your x-axis there, you'll see that this final group of columns represents our data from 2002 to 2003. We're looking for the age of female students, and in the legend, you'll see that's this kind of medium blue color. So we're looking at this bar right here then. And so if you carry that bar over, you'll see that, I'm going to say it's not quite 36, it's probably 37. So the average age is approximately 37 years. Okay, who tends to be older, male or female students? So female is that medium blue, and if you look at our legend, our male students are all blue or light blue. So if you look at the medium compared to the light blue, who tends to be older? Well, the medium blue bar in each case is higher than the light blue bar, which means that the female students tend to be older. Okay, next question. Did the average age of female students increase or decrease between 2001 to 2002 and 2002 to 2003? So we're looking at average age of female students. So again, looking at those medium blue bars. Did it increase or decrease? This seems like a trick question. Oh, there's a very, very slight decrease. If you extend that bar, I'm guessing actually that's probably 38 to 37. So perhaps I should have answered question A as 38. I'm going to change that. Okay, because I can see that we're looking at somewhere around 38. It is decreasing very slightly in that second one. And so the average age has decreased. Okay, and what was the average age of male students in 2000 to 2001? Okay, so let's go back here. So now we're looking at 2000 to 2001. So that middle group of columns there, you're looking at men. Okay, we're looking at the average age of male students. So it's going to be this bar here. And so I would say that's somewhere around 34. Okay, and the last part of this section is to create a bar graph of your own. And so if you were in class, what I would do is have every person decide on their favorite type of pet, and then we would tally those. So I'm just going to make up some data for us. Lots of people like cats. So let's say we had a bunch of cat lovers. Quite a few people also like dogs. So we'll have a fair number of dogs. And there's always a few people that prefer birds and fish too. And at least one person in the class always has a lizard or some other pet. Okay, that's their favorite. So if we tally our amounts, we've got 7, 5, 3, 2, and 1 here, and we're going to represent this on a bar graph. Okay, so step 1, we're going to tally our data and then total, which we've just done. The next part is to figure out what scale we're going to use. So you're going to look at your biggest number here. Here, our biggest number in our data is 7, so that we can decide on an appropriate scale. So here's our chart. How many lines do we have there? So 25 or 26 lines. We need at least 7. So actually you have even more than you need here. So let's make each set of 3 we could even do. We could make each set of 3 be 1. Okay, just so we can maximize the use of our graph here. Okay, so 7 is going to be way up here. Okay, so we've got an appropriate scale. Now we want to label the axes. That should be both axes. And give the graph a title. So the y-axis in this case is going to be the number of students. And the x-axis then is going to be the type of pet. Type of pet. Okay, we don't really need a legend for this graph because there's just going to be one category per bar. We do need a title though. So our title should explain what this graph is about. And so this is telling us the favorite pet of various students. So let's say this is of Math 46 that actually they've given a pretty, I've already given you a pretty good title. We can put that down right here. So it's going to be the favorite pet of Math 46 students. Okay, so now we have a title. We have a title for our y-axis and a title for our x-axis, and we can start to draw in the data. So for cats, we want 7. And so I'm going to go right here. We've got lots of room, so I'm going to make each bar 2 grid cells wide, just because I can. And so to represent 7, it's going to look like this. Okay, and this is a nice one to have some pencil crayons or markers of different colors, but it's not totally necessary. You can also do it in one color. Okay, and so this is cat. And then we've got, this goes decreasing order, but it doesn't have to. I feel like I need to change this just so it doesn't. So I'm going to change the other. We've got a lot of lizard, maybe some tarantula lovers in the class. So we're going to have, let's do 4. We're going to have 4 students under other, just to show the graph doesn't have to go in order of decrease. Okay, next category is dog, which is going to be 5. Our graphs should be separate from each other, or our bars should be separate from each other. And just to mix it up, I'm going to make this one green, give our graph some color. Okay, and you're going to just continue on doing all of the categories in the same way. So I recommend pausing the video and then you can skip to the end and make sure your graph looks like mine. So there are our dogs. Next up, we have 3 birds. And then 2 fish. And we had 4 other. And so that leaves us with our completed bar graph. One note is on some of these graphs in your textbook, be careful of what the legend says. So for example, if I had pooled way more people, the number of students might be in the thousands or millions. And so then your graph will look like this. So let's say you had something like this. Now we have the number of students in the thousands. So if you were looking at the number of students that preferred cats, you've got a 7, but that's in the thousands. So there would be 7,000 students that preferred cats. So do be careful of what your axes are telling you about your unit.